Hi there, Graham Vincent, violin maker and musician, and most definitely in need of a haircut and a beard trim. So hopefully next time you see me, I'll be looking a little bit smarter, but who knows. Right, I'm getting on with violins 43, 44. Stage I'm at the moment basically is they have been marked out on the actual sort of rib garland, flattened off, cut on the bandsaw. They've got the See that? They've got the little holes locating pins so that they always go back in the same place on the ribs each time. And now what I'm doing is I'm just marking using a marking gauge. I'm going around marking 4mm for the edge work, which I'm then going to start work on by hand. So here we go. Nothing terribly exciting or out of the ordinary here. I'm just using a fairly standard sort of, well, in fact, it's a mortise marking gauge as well. So you know, not that I ever use it for that really. I've got another one as well, which is just a single point. But anyway, this is the one I have on the bench at the moment, set up at 4mm. And yeah, I've done most of this one already. But yeah, basically just marking round at 4mm. And then I will start cutting. It's very strange using this reclaimed mahogany, because I mean I did use mahogany quite a lot many moons ago when I was when I was a guitar maker, but it's not something I've used for many years. I mean, obviously this is reclaimed from an old bureau, as I showed you in an earlier video. I wouldn't use new mahogany nowadays simply because of where it comes from, and we've all got to do our bit to try and preserve rainforests and so on. I absolutely believe that wholeheartedly. At the same time, it's criminal when beautiful wood like this, which is being thrown away, is literally burnt or put into landfill instead of being used for something decent. Although, you know, there is an argument for much the same way with the argument about ivory. You know, if, let's say for example, this turns out to be an absolutely staggering violin. I'm just using this to illustrate a point, and everyone decides they want to have one, and everyone decides they want a mahogany violin made. Well, at some point, somebody is going to start using new, freshly cut, freshly felled mahogany. So I mean, that's the same argument for not using any ivory, and I do subscribe to that argument, to be honest. So I've kind of got slightly mixed feelings about using mahogany, but there we go. On balance, I thought better to at least try it rather than burn it. There we are. That's my thinking. Let me know what you think now. Basically, if you think I'm fundamentally wrong, I'd be quite interested, because this is something that does need to be talked about by people. You know, timber usage, ebony, all those sort of things. But there we are. Anyway, enough of that. So this really is a first draft. I mean, basically just starting to see how the wood feels, getting used to working with this particular piece, getting an idea for its character and so on. You know, there's quite a bit more to come down, but that's as far as I'll take that piece. I'm now going to move on to the back that goes with it and get it to about the same sort of level. I won't necessarily film all of that because it would be a little bit tedious for you. So, what day is it today? Tuesday, I think. Yeah, I just put out the video number, I think it's 99, is it? About preparing the fronts and the backs. And Jeff034 asked why is there a step? Why is there sort of step in my mould, as he template, as he called it? Well, I would call it an internal mould. And Jeff, if this isn't what you're asking, then let me know, and I'll try another sort of little explanation. But basically, yeah, one of the joys of internal moulds is they can be great fun to get out. I have used all sorts of things. Hang on 1 second, have I got... I might even have a different type. Yes. This is one type that I used. I managed to get this one out. I used this for number 41, but my thinking here was that this gave me the option of actually getting a little saw in if anything was really stuck there. And if there was anything really stuck here, I could actually cut these pieces out and then cut that way. I could just cut through there. So I could actually dismantle the internal mold easily because of those starter saw cuts. And it's also really, I mean, that's really fast to do on the bandsaw. And I did that partly as a reaction against this one, which I mean, I've used this particular mold has been used for 39, 40 and 44. What we've got, I mean, this is the important bit for you to see. It's made up of blocks basically, and those blocks are all screwed to this piece of ply. So, well, the piece of ply, I should say, is screwed to the blocks. Because that piece of ply is proud of the surface, that piece of ply will stay on there whilst the back is glued onto the ribs, and I will then take the mold out at that stage. So I'll, you know, the back's glued on, I will then unscrew all of these, take this off, and at that point, I mean, this one, for example, is really easy to take out. And then it kind of gives you the option to start wiggling some of the others around to get them out. Before I would say actually, before I've glued the back on, I will have done some shaping of these blocks, even if it's just chopping them in at an angle, which is one thing I've done before. Yeah, and basically out they come, block by block. Center one first, it means you can wiggle this one up and down, and even if you've stuck it in too tightly, it's a bit like, you know, getting a loose tooth out. Eventually it will, if you worry away at it enough, it'll come out. And so that's the theory behind this. I don't know if it's a good idea. I know I'm not the first person to use a sort of a template that, you know, a mold that comes to bits, but that's the sort of pattern I used. I've got other thoughts really about internal and external molds, which I kind of alluded to in the last video. What I've tended to find is that the violin model is getting a little bit wider, so I think for the next two after this, I'm going to actually sort of probably alter this mold and just take it in maybe a millimeter along the sort of the waist there. I mean, this produces a very nice sounding violin, but some of my ones sort of 10 or 15 violins ago also sounded beautiful, and they were really quite petite at the waist. You know, more so than what I'm proposing to do with this particular mold. Anyway, so there we are. That's off at a tangent, and now back to the work in hand. End of another day. The plates are sort of coming together shape-wise. The next stage now is what I've been talking about for a little while. That is to get the external shape perfect for the ribs. and then I can start work on the edge work, and then I can cut the channel on the inside of it. So now I've kind of got the first draft, if you like, of the shaping done. What I'm doing now is using the locating pins, I put the front, well, sorry, in this case the back, onto the rib garland, and I am now going around, and I am by a mixture of using a sort of a chisel and various other things, but also for quite a large part of it, to be honest, just a file, which is a half round file. So I am now bringing this down to what will be the finished overhang. I'm then going to mark that with a pencil, mark the center with a pencil. Then I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to sort of put the shape of the underside onto there. I'm then going to put that shape onto the other side. So I've got the edge work largely done, and at that point I will have the outside of the edge work, but with no channel on the inside. So I will then put it down flat on the bench and by hand carve in that channel. So that's what you're going to be seeing over the next few clips. Well, that was a long and rambling video, something I seem to specialise in increasingly. Yeah, it's the beginning of a new week. I think I'll leave that video there. This week I'm actually going to have to sort of put aside number 43 and 44, certainly for the beginning of the week, because I'm going to be putting a new fingerboard onto a violin that I made some while ago that needs to go out. So yeah, I don't think I'll bother doing a video of that, but I have got a couple of tool videos that I really have been wanting to do for ages, so hopefully I might have time to do something about that towards the end of the week. I would imagine 43 and 44 will appear the week after, and probably having taken a little bit of a leap forward, but obviously anything important I'll try and video as we go. But there we go. Look after yourself. See you folks. Cheers. Bye.